Welcome back, Chiara.
Thank you.
Where are we?
We are back in the podcast. We are in Italy for this specific episode, doing some training as always.
It's a nice place, and we came here for a little bit of refreshment and getting ready for our races. And in this episode, we are going to talk about our races. Because last episode we talked about, we have some races that we are preparing, namely Valderans by UTMB, a 100K race, and the other one is the Salt Lake Ultra Trail, which is a 100-mile race on top of a Salt Lake. So we just want to get into the details of why we chose these races and what was our rationale, and if there was any rationale or it was more emotional, we will talk about it. So I think I want to start with how did we choose these races?
Oof, that's a hard question. I would start probably with Valderan. Valderan actually came as an idea to a friend of mine, Giovanni. He did with me Chianti last year, so you might have seen his face on the channel already. He wanted to do a challenging 100-kilometer race because that would be his first distance. And this year I started coaching him, and he was like, Chiara, I want to do Valderan. I think this is a crazy experience. It sounds so cool. It's a UTMB major. It's 100-kilometer plus. And fun fact, there is an helicopter rescue insurance for only 10 euros that he couldn't keep himself from buying. So he signed up for the race, and then Yunus and I were looking for an alternative for this year because we didn't have anything in our calendar, and we decided to join him. So why not?
It's a combination of you are gonna be running with your friend, and it's a challenge. But why did we need a 100K race?
So we wanted to do a race in the mountains, a race that was long enough and let's say with all the good points to qualify for a Western state, and also that could give us the stones for UTMB, because ultimately that is still our goal. And Valderan, it's a UTMB major, so this is a huge advantage, because if we finish, we will get double the stones for the distance, which is like 6, something like that. So not bad.
Yeah, I mean, like let's go back to what you said the first. Qualify for Western states. What does it require? Why do we have to do a race every year? Maybe you want to let people why this is happening.
Yes, so Western States, as some of you may already know, it's one of the top and most prestigious races within the ultra running world, and it's every year in the US around July. And so the qualification for Western States, it's a very close number, and only like 300 something participants can join every year, so it is very limited. And to qualify, you either enter with a golden ticket that we're not fast enough to get, or we will get by a lottery. So to be able to even join the lottery, you need to run a qualifying race within a certain time threshold that is specified on the website. Every race has its own. And for Valderan specifically, it is the 100-kilometer distance with sub 26, when the race cutoff is sub 28. So it will be a big challenge.
Sub 26, you mean sub 26 hours?
Yes.
So we are going to be hopefully running less than 26 hours to get to our goal. But is it only about finishing of this race, or
About Valderan?
Yeah?
Oof, I think Valderan it's going to be a huge challenge for us, because we don't train in the mountains generally, except a few weekends here and there if we manage to get away from the city. So training for the altitude, training for the elevation is going to be very hard, and the timing is actually very tight. Right, to give you a rule of thumb, last year we finished Cappadocia Ultra Trail with 3.8k elevation gain in 120 kilometers, so slightly longer, in 22 hours 50 minutes. So in this case, we have to do roughly 9 kilometers less, but the elevation, it will be double, more or less. So the challenge will be very, very much there.
Have you ever done a race with 6,500 meters of elevation gain?
No, I think my max was in Cappadocia, because Chianti was slightly less than Cappadocia.
So for people that's watching us and don't know much about what elevation gain means. So what if there is 6,500 meters of elevation gain? Why it's a challenge?
It's a challenge under all the aspects, physically a challenge because I mean, keep going up and down for 6,000 meters. Like, imagine starting from the sea, going all the way on the top of Mont Blanc, and you're still not arrived. So it's very, very long, and it will be constantly up and down the valleys of the Pyrenees. It will be a mental challenge because every time you reach a top, you know you will have another way down, another top to reach. So it is going to be very hard. And the third challenge is the speed, which is the one that we are trying to train as much as possible. So how fast we are able to go up and down will impact big time the performance and the result of this race at the end of the day.
Yeah, so we'll see. Also, tell us a little bit about what are our plans? Is like how are we gonna? We are just gonna take a flight and go to Pyrenees, and I don't think you can take a direct flight from Luxembourg to Pyrenees. But like this, what is the whole package? What is the whole moving potatoes package? If in the future we have a moving potatoes training club, what does it include in it?
So for this time, we wanted to make it more like a full journey from the beginning until the end. So we will do a road trip. Starting from Luxembourg, we will cross all France. We will visit Normandy. We will visit like all these nice places that we've never been. So why not? And then we will finally arrive to the Pyrenees within a 2-3 day road trip. Stay there, and then come back again by car throughout a different part of France.
Yes, so it's a multiple factors put together race. But like when I think about it, like we have these two races. Like I said, one is in the Pyrenees, in the mountains. It's gonna be extremely hard. It's tremendously hard. I can say it because I know how hard it was in Monte Rosa, and this race will be even hotter probably. So, and I finished in 36 hours. Now I
Yes.
have to cut it by 10 hours, although shorter distance of 15, 12 kilometers less, but I have to cut it by 10 hours. So I am also training with Coach Chiara and trying to get faster and faster. But that's a topic of another episode of how we are training and where we are right now. Okay, how do we build the calendar? We have the goal races, and from there we essentially determine the training of the entire season. One is 110K mountain race in Pyrenees in Spain. It's a completely different mechanical or physical or mental race. And the next one is completely flat, 160 kilometers in August, where the day temperatures reach 38, 39 degrees. How does these two complement each other? Do they complement each other, or it's just we are just crazy?
I think it's mostly the second, but there is also a rationale behind because we wanted to, like, first of all, within this season, get faster and challenge ourselves with something just hard. And I think we will do both because with the Pyrenees, we know that the distance is something that we have already experienced. We've already did races, both of us, above 110 kilometers. So we know potentially we have the ability to cover it. The big challenge will be about the elevation gain, at least for me. While Salt Lake will be most a challenge of mental endurance. We know we can do it because if we will be physically trained for Pyrenees, we will definitely be trained also to cover the distance of the 100 miles. That's how I see this because it will be completely flat. But the mental challenge behind Salt Lake will be extremely harder, and also from a race organization perspective, it will be completely different. The race will be in a completely monotonous because it will be always the same 4 loops that we have to do, same orientation, same aid station, same views on sides, front, back, etc. Very, very few people. So last year there were only like 47 people doing the 100 miles. So you will probably be most of the time alone. In this case, Yunus and I will have an advantage because we want to do it together. but still, it will just be the two of us. So at some point, Yunus will start fighting with me because he's too bored. But apart from that, there is some sort of complementing as well, because within our goal of getting faster, like if we get faster, we will be able to get the endurance and get all the good prerequisites to successfully finish this race.
So for me, the logic is like, it's a proper mountain ultra, and we are lucky to relatively live close by to the mountains. It's a complete different story than a flat ultra. Like, I was completely done in Cappadocia. I was horrible. I was feeling horrible that day, but my body went through something so much harder in the mountains that, even when I was feeling horrible, I knew that I would finish. Now, obviously, you were there. So what I'm trying to get is, if we can finish Valderrans, and because of our Western States dream, I gotta call it dream, we have to finish. But in ultras, you never know if things will succeed or not. If we don't finish, we don't finish. And most of the time, actually, you fail. That's the story of ultra. I would dedicate months and fail. And I know that if we do that mountainous race in the flat, we will be flying. But before maybe getting into the details of the race, why Salt Lake? Why do you want to run this race?
Salt Lake, it's a famous race for us. It's the very first race that Yunus made me discover within the ultra world. It's the first race that we did right after we met, more or less. It's the first race when I saw Yunus failing, and the first race when I went to see Yunus. So, not a great experience, not a big show off, but for sickness reasons. In that race, I also won my first podium and the only podium in the women category, which is, always bittersweet. And what to say? It's a very unique place. It's not a place that you can commonly find anywhere else in the world. Like, where do you find salt lakes that you can run on? It's probably very unlikely. The landscape is so unique. The colors are so beautiful. There is nothing around it, so you literally feel that feeling of loneliness in the night when it's just you yourself running in the dark with all this sky full of stars and this gentle breeze, and you feel like maybe running in the Arctic, and then during the day it's complete opposite. You have this lake which is burning under your feet. You have this kind of fog that you see far where there are all the mountains, because it is so dusty, and then there is the wind. It's hot, extremely hot, but again, like, the landscape, it's so magical within itself that to me it's also a special place.
So I want to get back slowly. I want to get back to the emotions there. You said stuff like where we first met. That is the obviously romantic part, and it has a meaning for us. We wanted to go back for some. You wanted to go back actually more than I do, because I hate heat and it's very hot, and I fail in heat. There is your story, which is actually you ran a 40K in an quote unquote ultra before you ran a marathon, right?
Yes.
That was and you in your first long distance race got to the podium. So there is romanticism, love, there is success in this story, and then there is failure of me signing up for 100 miles and 3-4 days ago going to a random Starbucks and eating a cheesecake in August.
That's a story.
For no reason, and then having a horrible diarrhea for 1 week, but still trying to run it and failing it. And all of this is happening while I'm trying to first introduce the girl that I met to Ultra World and trying to impress her. Like, so when she first saw me, it was mostly in the toilet. Like, I spend most of my time in toilet. So it's these multiple things coming together, and we decided to go back this year. I mean, the original plan was maybe for you to go back. How did the plan come? I forgot.
I forgot that too, but I think it was something around, because I won the podium, the prices were not monetary price, but there were some vouchers to having a discount if you sign up again to the race or any of the races of the same organization and so on. And the year after we did it 3 years ago, so 2 years ago, the race organization didn't do Salt Lake because of some bureaucratic reasons, because also in that same lake, for example, there are some military training sometimes, so it is not always available. And then the year
Don't give the
after,
Turkish Republic secrets, Kiara.
it's public.
Our channel will get a strike.
And
Ignore this part.
last year we had other plans because we had the Yunus race in Monte Rosa, and in August we wanted to do the Norway experience, so we just couldn't make it work. And this year I said, Yunus, you know what? That sounds like a cool idea because we have nothing to do in August, we have no plans. So it sounds like something that we can try again. It's also Yunus' little sister's birthday in that period, so it's a good excuse to go back and see his sisters. So why not?
Yeah. Yes, I mean, actually, I think what happened is we had the Valderans planned first. So I guess what I'm trying to say is like it's not like we sit down and we do analytical calculations and this is what we want to do.
No, I
We
was
are-
working, and then I decided to get distracted from work and tell Yunus, what about Salt Lake this year? And then I bothered Yunus so much during work, and he said, okay, let me look into this. And then he said, okay, I don't want to join it. And then at some point I convinced him to join as well.
Yeah, let me explain it. When she came up with the idea, my first reaction was, fuck no, absolutely no. I will never do that race because in Cappadocia in 20 degrees under the sun, I would die, and I've been there before. However, I kept telling her for the last 2-3 years, like, you should have the night experience there. It's a complete different experience. Like, you are literally running in eternal flatness within the Milky Way. You really feel like that. And the sunset and sunrises, incredible colors. And, you have a certain talent for, dealing with heat.
I used to.
It's in your genes. I guess maybe it's thanks to your skin that your reflective powers,
My
your
boyfriend
body
is
doesn't
racist.
the body doesn't get all the heat. So I don't know. It's a God-given talent for you. I said no at the beginning, but then I thought, well, there is the emotional part, there is the success, and also, to be honest, it's also personal redemption. It's not just like, oh, I wanna run with my girlfriend, blah blah. No. There is the personal redemption part. Like, I don't wanna do it. I don't like hot races. I don't like flat races. I'm better at uphills. Not so good in downhills, but better at uphills. But so I said, oh, I don't wanna do it. Then I will do it.
Yes.
Chiara is worried a little bit because she thinks she will have to carry me. She thinks.
That's what happened in Cappadocia.
So, and if you want to watch the Cappadocia, there is the Cappadocia video that you should definitely watch. Multiple stories in Salt Lake.
Yes, that was a
Are
very
you
good
excited?
memory. I am super excited about
But
that.
how does this excitement work? You wake up in the middle of the you also sleep in the middle of the day, but you wake up in the morning and think like, there's only 6 months left, etc.
I think now I'm more worried about the Pyrenees race rather than Cappadocia, because I know
Salt Lake.
more than Salt Lake. Probably because I know that on flat I am decent. I am just bad in uphills. So I am more worried about the Pyrenees than the Salt Lake. Also the Salt Lake, I know that, mentally it's a race that it's easy to break down, because in Salt Lake you have an aid station every 10 sharp kilometers. So you know that in your race, it's basically like 10 kilometer by 10 kilometer by 10 kilometer by 10 kilometer. You don't have to think about it. Okay, I have to do this 16 kilometers uphill, and then I have an aid station, and then I don't know what's gonna happen. It may rain, it may snow. Like anything can happen between one aid station to the other in the mountains. While in Salt Lake, you know that the conditions would pretty much stay the same. Like a bit hotter, a bit colder, depends on if it's day or night. But the setup, it's always the same. So it's a very, let's say, a controlled environment compared to a mountain race. And I usually do pretty okay in those scenarios. So I think with the proper heat training, I can manage that much better than the Pyrenees. but let's discover. That's just my assumptions.
We are excited. We are nervous. I am more nervous
Yes.
than you for Salt Lake, particularly. I hate heat. It's very hot in August, in middle of Turkey. Trust me. Pyrenees. We'll talk about how we are training for these races. We'll talk about where we are in the upcoming episodes. What's our strategy? How do you imitate or replicate the conditions of high mountains and then technically desert? Living in Luxembourg in an oceanic climate. We will talk about all of these, but yeah. Do you want to say anything final about our races and what 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 does it make you feel exactly? These two when you combine them together.
Honestly, very excited to start the racing season. Now we are getting into like the big chunk of training for our training block, and I am like can't wait to do those long runs, those big trainings, and then get ready to the race, go to the start line, and feel like okay, today it's my day, hopefully. So I am very pumped up for the season, but I also am a bit stressed to be honest, because as of today we don't have any backup race in case we fail Valderan in terms of qualifying race for Western States. So that's adds a little bit of stress, but that's for another day.
That's for another day, like she said. We'll talk again.
Oh yes, stay tuned to know what is going to be the rest of our race calendars.
And more content is coming.
Yes,
More fun content.
yes.
Okay.
Thank you, potatoes. See you at the next podcast episode.
Bye.